Anticlux.world. Why are 10K PFP projects the most popular NFT format so far? And what's the meaning behind it?
Good question. Do you have an answer?
I think for the first part of it, like why 10K, it's sort of just like CryptoPunk started with a 10K collection, and then it just seemed like that was just what projects did, and it's just become like the status quo. I think it's a nice round number, and for the market size and stuff, it's just fit. So I think
it lets you get a lot of variety, but still have some harmoniousness. Yeah, I think that kind of was just, Punk started, and unfortunately, I don't know much about curio cards and all that other old stuff, really. But then, of course, Apes did it, and then we just have a lot of people pseudo copycatting Apes from then on.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Interestingly, Gutter Cat Gang, who came very shortly after Apes, and to me read very much like they were just copying the idea, did a much smaller size. But for the most part, 10K is very popular. But in terms of going beyond the number, why is the profile picture project thing so popular and resonant, do you think?
I think it like combines a few things, like the collectible nature. So when you have 10K and you mint and it's generative, it's like there's this whole gambling rarity, like opening packs element where it's like, oh, can you get a rare one? People enjoy that. It combines the art, like a lot of them have really cool art and different art, and people can appreciate that. But probably more importantly than all of that is it's just really easy to identify with these PFPs. And like people have been using avatars for decades, ever since the internet's been around. You'd have a forum, you'd choose an avatar. When we played online poker, you'd have an avatar. In games, you'd have avatars. So it's just a concept that people can understand and be like, oh, now I identify and relate. This is now my digital identity. This is my digital. Yeah. And that to me,
And so much of the NFT community is on Twitter and is on Discord, where you have profile picture projects. And then it's just inherently an advertisement, essentially, for that NFT specifically and that NFT project more broadly. So, as far as like metaverse land or just straight out art projects, whatever other, NFT categories you want to discuss, the ability for them to constantly be being advertised without effort, and for you to be able to identify them with various groups of people, and even, once you get to the deeper level of, the individual that has it, intertwining that with your own actual personality and identifying with it. Like, I have some great art blocks art that I love and love more than, any of my profile picture projects, NFTs, but there's 0% where I'm confusing myself with that. Whereas very much there is a sense that I am ape number 9838,
right?
Which is just, that's a powerful, weird new thing that I think, as much as I have found the space to be bubbly in its valuation of all of these projects, or I shouldn't say all, but a lot of these projects for a long time, and have tended to be proven wrong sort of by the market in the short term, because they mostly have kept going up. It's a super powerful thing that is just like, belonging is a big thing in humanity. Obviously, we're social creatures, and there's been all sorts of different ways that we've done that for, right? But the way that this directly adds finances into it is a very interesting thing. And the way that, like, the hierarchical structure of, say, I don't know if you know who the Freemasons are or whatever, but like just any sort of large social club, there's some sort of tiered nature to a lot of those, but that has to do with politics and who you know and who your father was and all of that stuff. There's an interesting sort of initially democratizing thing where it's just, I could have minted the gold ape, you could have minted the gold ape, Elon Musk could have minted a Crazy Eyes with brown fur or whatever. But then, it allows you to pick what you like in the secondary market, and you can identify more strongly with that. It's just it's an interesting way to you know, get human coordination going together, that I think is just like the potential is still so huge and untapped as far as I'm concerned. And I think you know, a lot of people that are maybe skeptical or like purely in it for the money are kind of regularly looking for what's going to be the new thing, and thinking that profile picture projects are very much, you know, of the time. I think they just are going to endure and be massive continuously.
Yeah, I don't see a point in time when they go away. It's just like, as more people enter the space, they're going to want to have, a lot of them are going to want to have a PFP, a profile picture, an identity, maybe several. And then
I was going to say, that's just another thing. The idea of having multiple is something that some people I talk to buy into it. And I feel like the way I am and foresee people in general being is that you only really need a second one if you happen to sell your top one. But I guess, you know, definitely some people are going to want to have alt accounts and stuff like that. Or, you know, just in various different social circles, you know, largely digital social circles, have different ones. But to me, that's still strange. But you know, we're like a year into this shit. Certainly in 4 years, I could be obviously proven wrong and think that this version of me is a moron, forever thinking that I wouldn't simultaneously be 4 of them or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Continue. Sorry to interrupt.
I was saying, who's going to know? Like, I mean, yes, we can agree that, almost anyone who joins the space is likely going to want some sort of avatar PFP, but is it going to be the existing collections or new stuff that comes out in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And that's really, really hard to predict. To go back to like what you were saying as well before about like how it's just not the same with art blocks because we don't identify it with it. It's like, this is 2 Bored Apes, not 2 fragments of an infinite field. This is not 2 plots of sandbox land. This is not 2 this, that, or the other. It's something just very personable about PFPs.
And even in the future, theoretically, if we were somehow doing this show within a sandbox plot, that would just still be the setting and us. And it's hard, you know, humans have some level of selfishness inherent to them, right? How am I ever going to think an NFT that is mine is more valuable than the NFT that is me? You know what I mean? Like, my art is something that reflects on me. And then I have this other NFT that me.
Yeah.
It just that's more powerful in a way.
Yeah.
That is, I think, hard to overstate.